Hi, this is Dave from Megadeth, and you are watching LOUDWIRE.
Hey everyone, Guru Hamid here from LOUDWIRE, and it's Wikipedia Fact or Fiction time with an amazing guest, Mr. Daivemustein from Megadeth. Thank you so much for your time today. Greatly appreciate it. All right, so went through your Wikipedia page, Megadeth's Wikipedia pages. We're gonna pull out some stuff, and you can tell us whether if it's right or wrong, because we believe you are a credible source about yourself.
I hope so.
Yes. All right. They do get this stuff wrong sometimes, so we'll start it out just with your name. David Scott Mustaine.
That's right.
True. Born in La Mesa, California.
Yeah.
Okay, they do get that wrong, so yeah, 1 point for them. It said that you were brought up as a Jehovah's Witness.
Not brought up per se.
Little fiction.
I was baptized as a Lutheran at 4. At 7, I became a witness until I was 15, and then my mom moved out, and that's when I got into the occult.
Right.
So those 8 years, though, were formidable years, and they really psychologically set me up for all the animosity I have towards organized religion.
So you found those to be quite strict years?
Well, a cult is a cult is a cult, So when you're at school and the national anthem is played, or you do the Pledge of Allegiance, and you're the one kid standing there with your hands at your side going like, okay, just punch me at recess, that kind of crap. Or you can't have any friends, and you can't celebrate birthdays or, holidays and stuff like that. And it's like, man, religion is supposed to be something that makes you better, not makes you want to be a serial killer,
One would hope. It said that your first band was called Panic. Mm-hmm. But the band ended tragically after drummer Mike Leftwich and the band's sound manager were killed in a car crash after the band's second show.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. What kind of a drummer was Mike Leftwich?
He was pretty good. Yeah. What happened was we'd played a party in Dana Point at my cousin's pad, and on the way home, we told him don't drive. Just don't drive, because we'd been playing, everybody was partying, it's a kegger party, everybody's having fun, and so the guy Joe decides to get behind the wheel, and I didn't know because I had gone to sleep, and found out the next day that excuse me guys, Joe had driven home, Mike had gotten in the back seat of the car and fallen asleep, and right across the street from where I used to surf every day, there's a Jack in the Box and a 76 gas station on the south side of Huntington Beach Pier. There's a control box for the lights, the signals. And
right.
Joe fell asleep, hit the thing, broke his neck, and died on impact, and Mike burnt up in the car.
Oh my God.
So that was really horrible.
Oh man. How do you get past something like that?
You pray about it. You try and be supportive to the family. And I can never quantify what their loss is, so whenever I get a chance to, I pay homage to Mike and Joe and another band member we had named Tom Quick, who had lost his life too. Right after the band started to fall apart, he had had a tragic car accident. And in fact, I had just recently heard from one of his family members. He had a big brother that's in the CIA, so dude was a good dude, came from a good family, he was a good guitar player, and it was very eye-opening in the beginning of my career. I thought, am I supposed to be doing this with all this tragedy that's going on here?
Yeah. It said that you landed your gig as Metallica's lead guitarist without even having to audition. That's true?
Yeah.
Were they familiar with your guitar playing already? And no, not at all?
Mm-mm.
Were there actual auditions, or was it just you were there and they're like, just come play with us, man?
Well, what happened was we'd gone to Ron McGovney's parents' house where he was living, and they had a little area, I don't even know what you call it because I'm not a realtor, but when you have a bunch of condos next to each other, there was like a driveway that went back, and there were several houses that were duplexes that were lined up down the street. And so Ron had his own duplex with a garage that we had for rehearsing, and I went in there and I set my stuff up, and I was just tuning my guitar, and I came in and I said, okay, so, are we gonna do the audition? They said, no, you got the job, and I was just warming up. So I think what they heard pretty much impressed them to the point where they didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
And James wasn't playing guitar at the time too. I don't
Right.
know if you've seen those pictures of him where he's got his mic stand and I'm the only one with the guitar. Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty big load to take being the only guitar player in a band.
Yeah. It said that you once poured a full can of beer down Ron McGovney's bass, which gave him an electric shock that blew him across the room.
That's a lie.
That sounded false to me.
Yeah.
I don't
What
think
happened
the
was
physics quite work.
Ron, who I'm friends with now, had someone who was an acquaintance of mine jump through his window, take a bunch of his records.
Oh, geez.
And Ron was right to be mad, but he blamed me for it. And I was so offended that I poured a beer into his guitar.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do it to hurt him, and anybody with half a brain cell knows that if you pour liquid into an object that is not plugged in at the moment, and it wasn't, because why would Ron be wearing a guitar and let me pour a beer into it? As soon as you do that, it stops working.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just gonna and
Yeah.
fly across the room.
And plus, don't you think you would have heard that story before from me?
This was the first time I heard this
Yeah,
story.
I mean,
that's
I
why
would have
wanted
said
to-
something about it.
It would have been a great story
Yeah.
if it was possible.
Plus the stuff that I've done in my past, if there was something I did that was not cool, unless the guy deserved it, I've made amends to people for it.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are assholes and they just need what they have coming to them. But, if I've done something in my past where, it's done something to somebody who didn't deserve it, I've cleaned up the wreckage of my past. Pretty good. I'm sure there's still some people out there that, I've done stuff to that I don't remember yet. But, we've got a really great way of our paths crossing and us being able to make stuff up. Like I saw something from Ricky Rackman recently, and he had said something, and I was kind of bummed because, he had said that he thought that I really didn't like him, and I like him. The whole thing we did with MTV was a gag,
Okay.
because whenever we were off camera, what people never saw was, Ricky and I laughing and yucking it up and stuff like that. So that's the guy that I remember. I don't remember the guy that, I would pick on, because it was like a gag for TV.
Sure.
So yeah, that's a cool thing too, to be able to clear that up and let them know that, hey, you know what, I really didn't dislike you. It was just a thing, and I'm actually excited, not excited because I think that's bullshit, but I'm happy for his success, because all the guys that we were part of this little clique in Hollywood, and to see any one of us, Slash and David used to hang out together, and Ricky and all those guys, there was a circle of us. Although some of us were a little different, we all were part of that circle. So it made me happy to see that he was still doing stuff.
It said that your musical partnership with David Ellefson began after he asked you to buy him cigarettes. You refused, but a few minutes later he knocked on your door again and asked you to buy him beer. You said, now you're talking, and you guys spent the night talking music together.
We spent the night drinking.
Yeah, okay, not talking music so much?
No, I was listening to him talk music, and I just wanted to drink his beer.
Okay, so he paid.
He did. He, I had just come back from being in Metallica and started over again, so I was living on my own up there, and he'd come out, and he still had his dad's credit card from Minnesota, and his dad was very, very supportive, really great man. He's passed away. So, Dave, it was easy for him to go and get a case of beer.
Sure.
You just had to kind of, not do it too often, or guilt would come in, and, his dad would call up and, say, hey, you guys need to tone it down a little bit. So there was always that parachute there, for him, which was great. And, I got to tell you, honestly, sometimes I wonder why he stuck it out, because, he had a place that he could go to. I didn't, so he could always have gone home. He could always, have said, hey, Dad, you know what, I'm going to quit. I'm going to, go do something different. I'm going to get in another band. No more, us living in a car in Los Angeles. But he stayed, and that's a big testimony to Dave and who he is as a person and his integrity and his belief in this band.